Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Roudny. I'm running for MPP for Peterborough, Kawartha Lakes. This is my second video. I'm talking to you now from the passenger seat of my truck, and I want to talk about taxation. If you live in Ontario, your tax rate is much higher than you actually think it is. Ontarians right now pay roughly 75% in taxes. You probably don't know that because no one has explained that businesses don't actually pay taxes. They put it into the price of their goods and you pay business taxes. Now, that's the subject of another video. But what I wanted to talk about was the first question everybody has when they say, okay, if I pay a 75% tax rate and I want it to be lower, doesn't that mean that government will have to cut programs and cut spending and so on? It doesn't. That's a lie. I'm not personally in favor of big government, a government that does everything for its people, a government that provides services, a government that's so big that it employs nearly half the people in the country. I'm not in favor of that. But if you are, it's still important to know why the media is lying to you when they say if taxes go down, government programs have to go down. And it's something I'm going to explain. It's called the Laffer curve. Okay. And it's not because it's funny. It's because it was invented. It wasn't really invented, but it was, I suppose, popularized or clarified by an economist named Art Laffer. So here it is. Okay. I'm going to flip this around. Now, I don't have money or time to do a fancy infographic, so I'm just going to put it right here on this paper. So we're talking about the Laffer curve. The Laffer curve basically shows in a little graph what happens when government increases or decreases taxes. And on the x-axis, we have the tax rate as a percent. Can you see that? I don't know if this is really working. I want to clean the camera off a little bit. Sorry. Apologies. Not professional, but I'm not a professional videographer. I'm a professional electrician and an amateur filmmaker, obviously. So we have our tax rate on the bottom and government revenue on top. Okay, my handwriting is terrible, but that's going to have to be okay. Government revenue means how much money comes in to the government for them to pay for things, buy stuff, so on and so forth. At zero, this is the place where both are zero. Obviously, if government charges no tax to anyone, it makes no money off of anyone. That's fairly simple. As the tax rate goes up that way, and you'd have like whatever 1, 5, so on and so forth. As the tax rate goes up in the first part of this curve, government revenue goes up in dollars. Okay, it can be, we can make this any scale you want, depending on the GDP and the value of the currency. It could be, this could be 1, this could be 1,000, whatever. But in general, when the tax rate starts to go up from 0, government revenue goes up. And it keeps going up, kind of in this shape. Many people say that it's kind of like a bell curve. So there it is. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, okay, we are somewhere here on the tax rate. It should keep going up, right? If the government starts collecting more taxes, this should keep going up, more revenue. And that should be pretty much true across the board, right? Well, it's not. And the reason it's not is, take the limiting case, okay? Take an extreme case. If government charges, let's say this is 100%, that means every bit of work you do, everything you do goes right to the government, and then they give you back what you think you should have, what they think you should have. how many people do you think are going to want to work in that situation where they get nothing? Well, probably zero, right? So at government tax rate of 100%, the tax collected is actually zero because no one wants to work in that kind of a situation, or very, very, very few people. So what ends up happening here at some maximum is that as the government increases the tax rate, charges more and more taxes, people have less and less incentive to work. They find the work isn't worth it for lots and lots of different reasons. But basically, the curve ends up looking like that. And some people believe that this maximum, there's some differing opinion on what the maximum is. Some people believe it's 33%. Some people believe it's 50%. That's going to change, obviously, with certain factors. How easy is it to mobilize people working? What kind of industries are we talking about? Yada, yada, yada. But there's definitely a maximum, okay? And it's definitely below, at or below 50%. We know that almost for certain. We are being charged I'm going to show my finger here. We are being charged 75% tax rate. Like I said, that'll be another video telling you why that is. 75%, which means government revenue is right about here, whatever that is in dollars. We'll say $1, okay? Now, with this chart, government could charge this tax rate, which obviously if this is 33 or 50 or whatever it is, this is well below 33, it'd be something like 20%. They could charge 20% tax and still make the same amount of money. Why don't they? That's a great question. We'll discuss that here at the end. Another good question is, if you're a person who believes that government should do all the things, it should run everything, short of maybe having a planned economy, but it should run schools, it should run hospitals, it should run all manner of regulatory institutions. It should do basically everything important. You want taxes to be here because that is the most money that a government can possibly get from its people right there. So you actually want, if you're that kind of person, you actually want the tax rate to be whatever this is. 50 is the high end, 33 maybe is a little more reasonable, but you want it to be somewhere there, not over here. Which means, essentially, if you're a socialist, you still want lower taxes. We're here, if we lower taxes, if we go this way, the media tells us that government will be poorer and have to cut programs. And they say cuts, cuts, cuts. There's going to be cuts to education. There's going to be cuts to this. There's going to be cuts to that. This is why that is nonsense. A lower tax rate will actually earn the government more money. However, a lower tax rate is a little harder to virtue signal about. Okay? There's that. The second thing is, and maybe I'll turn this around now. How do I do that? I go like boom. The second thing is, why would government ever charge people more than the maximum amount of tax where they get the maximum revenue? Why would they do that? Well, perhaps it's because they enjoy the control over your life that it gives them. At 75% tax rate, that means you only really own 25% of your work. And I know lots of people will say, and they're right, that money isn't everything. People are not defined by how much money they have. That's all very true. But your money mobilizes many of the good things in your life. Your shelter, your food, you're taking care of your children, educating your children. I mean, name them off. The thing it also mobilizes when you have spare money is you have spare time. You have time to focus on social issues that are important to you. You have time maybe to start a charity. You have maybe more money and time to give away to a church or a charity or any kind of political group or goal you would like to achieve. Your money is what mobilizes your time and your ideas. Perhaps we should start thinking about why government is charging us a tax rate that isn't even very good for them. It's probably because of control. I'd like you to think about that, and I'd like you to share this video because I'm running for MPP and I need a few more signatures to validate my candidacy, and so I'd like you to share it and talk about it. The only way we change things is if we begin to think differently and understand this stuff. Thanks very much. Talk to you later.